This is TWiT.
All right, so what do I have in my hands? Actually, it's been a weird 7 days because all at once I received a ton of new hardware. I've got the Galaxy Watch Classic, the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic on my wrist, and I've been enjoying this for the past week.
Galaxy Watch Classy.
Yeah, it is. I gotta say, it is a pretty classy watch. I really do like the design of it, and so far, I really like the watch itself. I got the Flip, which I'm not going to talk about today anyways. I'm going to talk about that at a future time, but I got the Galaxy Z Flip 3. So this is the Samsung foldable that goes from the little square into a normal size phone. So that's neat, but that's not for today.
Is it off?
It is off right now, yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like, why isn't it lighting up?
Yeah, because I turned it off before the show because it was making lots of noises, and I was like, I don't want to take the chance. So I've just been setting up these devices. I don't have that one perfectly set up yet. But I thought I'd spend a little time just going hands-on with the Galaxy Z Fold 3. So Samsung, at their announcement, a few weeks back, unveiled all of these three devices that I've mentioned here. The Z Fold 3 is definitely the device that is the top of the line of what they announced there, right? Premiumist of premium smartphones, I would say. Which we could talk a little in a few minutes about what actually makes a premium smartphone. But in this case, it's feature set because it does very interesting things like the foldable display out to a much larger interior display. But it's also costly. This thing is $1,799, so $1,799. Yeah, for the 256 gig model, and then $1,899 for the 512 gig model. So you're paying for the innovation. It does have a fingerprint sensor on the side, and my fingers are a little sweaty, so it's not working. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do the pin then, I guess. All right, so what do we have here? Just real quick, I can rattle off a few things. Two displays. As you saw, there's a display on the front. When it works, it keeps locking when I close it, and that's not what I wanted. Dang it.
It does not like your fingerprint.
It doesn't. I did set it up before the show, and it was working, but I don't know what's going on. Anyways, it has the display on the outside, and on the inside, obviously, both AMOLED, both 120 hertz. So it has like a high refresh rate display on both ends. The front display is a tall 6.2-inch display. It's actually a 24.5:9 aspect ratio.
Interesting.
And so, you've got the little frame here, the little hinge area. So that makes the bezel kind of come in a little bit. It ends up being kind of a narrow-ish device, which in my hands right now might seem normal, but as I use it, it definitely does. And it was the same with the Z Fold 2. Definitely feels narrow. Like when you get a full keyboard on the device and you're trying to, be really accurate with punching out a text message or whatever, the keys feel really narrow. Everything's just like squished in there. But it's better than nothing. It's better than the first one where it was like even smaller and it was like a portion of the front. It looked really funky and weird. Now, so they've made this so that it's more or less, a normal phone when you're on the outside, and that's good. Unfolded, the inside display is a 7.6-inch display. And, the screen types are different. Obviously, this is a foldable, so you can kind of see there's a little bit of a crease there. Mm-hmm. Everybody ends up pointing to the crease on the foldables because it's like, it's not perfect.
Can you feel the crease?
I mean, yeah, you can feel it. It dips down. Okay. It's a little bit of a dip there. But, I remember early on when these foldables were happening, this was like in my mind without ever having one in my hands. I was like, oh, that's a deal breaker. That's lame. I want it to be seamless, blah, blah, blah. And to be honest, like with the Z Fold 2, it really didn't end up bugging me. Right now, I don't know if I'm just getting more used to the fact that they exist and that they're there and it's just a part of the technology, but it's really not the end of the world. Right. I have seen some of these devices where that does start to deteriorate. So from a durability standpoint, that can be a little concerning. But obviously this is brand new, so I'm not seeing.
Do you always blow on it before you close it?
No, I never think to do that. To get the dust out of there, that's probably a good point. I mean, when you close it, I don't know if this is.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's smart.
Here.
Okay.
it has, I'm trying to hold it so that the camera can see. It has a little bit of like a teardrop pass through there. So it's not like the display is perfectly sandwiched on top of the other display.
Okay.
It has a little bit of a bumper on both of these edges, so it lifts it slightly. So if something's going to get caught in there, it's got to be like a large something.
Yeah, you would
it's got to
see
be a
it
large
for sure.
pebble or something. You know what I mean? So that's good. Let's see what else. Oh, so I don't have it.
Where are all of the cameras, and which ones are the good ones, and which ones are they just had to have one there?
All right. Well, so there is a front camera that is the cutout. I don't know if you can. Here, let's see if it'll focus.
Right above that lock button.
Yeah, you can kind of see it vaguely up at the very top there. On the back, we do have the three cameras, all 12 megapixels. But I mean, these are Samsung's lenses. I would say that the camera system on this is not the top of the line. Like, you're not getting Galaxy S21 Ultra style cameras here, which I think were about as definitive as Samsung's cameras get on their devices. But you're still getting good quality cameras. I would imagine, I haven't tested these yet, but I would imagine these cameras are going to produce some pretty great images. And then the one that really stands out is the front-facing one. Let's see if my fingerprint sensor works.
So you get two front-facing cameras. Interesting.
Yeah, so let's see here. I'm trying to, I have night mode on, and I want it off so that I can actually show the pass through here. But let's see, do I have a single app that'll show it? Let's see here. Yes, okay, fine. Yes, I'm in. Now everything's on night mode. But there is up here, you can vaguely see it's a pass-through camera. It's underneath the display. And instead of it being a total cutout, so a cutout would just be, the hole punch that we're used to seeing. It is it's like a lower pixel density camera up at the top. So when you have so essentially it shows pixels. Let's see if I can get this night mode off. There's got to be a setting for dark mode. Okay, we'll tweak that off. Okay, there we go. Now, if I can hold this up there, I'm trying my best so you can see. Yeah. There are pixels there, but they're a lower pixel density. And so what that allows for is when you fire off the camera, those pixels that are there turn off. And so it allows the camera to shine through mostly unobstructed. But I mean, there's still a layer in front of it, right?
Right.
And so I haven't tested it yet, but that's like one of the big questions is this a good trade-off? If it was a hole punch, it would be an unobstructed camera and it would be as good as the camera is. Right now, we have this like layer of pixels that have darkened, but it's still a layer for that camera to pass through. And is that going to produce images that are as good or, maybe slightly deteriorated or whatever? And that seems to be what people are saying.
It's an interesting way of doing things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we've seen some phones do this so far, but this is, I would say, the biggest phone. This is the biggest release doing it right now. So I'm really curious to play around with that. Let's see here.
When you have the phone open and you have that camera on the other side, well, I guess you have a lot of cameras on the other side. Can you use so on the back side of this, can you use your display that's on the back side as a viewfinder so basically I'm saying you switch it around and like face it at yourself. Can you use that screen as a viewfinder?
I believe
so like a selfie, basically, where you could actually see yourself as you're taking a photo of yourself.
I'm pretty. It's been a while since I had the. Let's see here. I'm totally just. Okay, cover screen preview on. Okay, so there we go.
Ah, cool.
So there you are. There's the mode. I was like, I know you can. I know the feature is here somewhere. So now you can see the camera that I used to shoot these overheads. But yes, there you go. So now, if I wanted to, I could and I could take the picture and I could see myself through that camera.
Neat.
Yeah, and then it does other things too, like when you fold it slightly, you end up with
kind of cool.
Kind of a different layout. So I've got my little preview there. I've got my control panel. If I was to take some pictures, I get a little last image.
Oh, that's kind of neat.
Window there. Yeah, kind of neat layout stuff that really differentiates it from other things. It also allows you to set this up, right? So if I was doing a group shot, I could set this up and position this perfectly, and it's kind of like its own tripod.
How does it feel? Does it feel hefty and premium quality? Like, is that stainless steel on the sides? Is it aluminum?
Yeah, it's aluminum. It's a higher grade aluminum, I think, than the previous version. They've upgraded the hinge, so the hinge looks like a tank now. That was what really failed the original, the first one that, failed miserably and, got all sorts of bad press. They've continued to work on the hinge, so it feels strong. It's also the first one that is IPX8 certified. Last year's had no water protection. This one can resist 5 feet of water up to 30 minutes. And, partially due to the upgraded hinge system. No dust protection, though. So
yeah, it's like X there.
Yeah. The outside glass is Gorilla Glass Victus, which is kind of like the latest and best of Gorilla Glass. The inside, it's the foldable display, so it's different. And I don't know how strong or how,
it's chimpanzee
how
glass.
That's going to be. Yes, right. But yeah, I think it feels hefty. It feels, you're paying for an $1,800 phone. You want a phone that doesn't, feel hollow or insignificant. And actually it's a little heavy as well, which, on one hand can be kind of a downside, because one of the other features that this has is it supports, when I can have it unlock, now it's not doing it again. When I can actually get into the phone, the inside display is operatable by the S Pen, which Samsung's S Pen was on the Note series for a very long time. Note series didn't happen this year. In place, they're doing S Pen support for the Fold 3. It's a specialized S Pen that works only on the interior display. So the specialized S Pen, can do it without scratching the display, so that's great. Downside to this is that S Pen will not work on the front display area, which is kind of a letdown, because when you take the Note use case, it was always like, just pull out your phone, pop out the S Pen, and jot down something really quick. And in this case, if you want to do that, A, you have to have a case that houses the S Pen somewhere. I don't have an S Pen to show off. And B, if you want to take a quick note, you do have to open it up, have the S Pen ready. And with the size of this and the weight of it, holding it with one hand, you got to be really certain that you're not going to drop this sucker. Because if you do, it's $1,800, So that's a little bit of a trade-off there. And I don't know that it's necessarily going to appeal or appease Note fans, because this is
one other question.
Yeah.
Does it at any point feel like it's spring-loaded to open or close, or is every part of the closing and opening process at the same resistance? Does it have a point at which it kind of snaps closed or snaps open, or is it resistance every step of the way? Okay,
it's resistance
that makes me feel
every
better.
step of the way. Yeah.
In terms of using it as a notepad, if I had it open like that, if it did have kind of a spring thing, I'd be worried about putting my fingers on either side of it, because I'd be worried it would snap close while I'm writing.
Oh, yeah. No kidding.
That's good.
No, it's actually pretty. I mean, it's a strong hinge. It really does feel very sturdy. You can put it in any position and it's just going to stay there. You couldn't even do the old flip phone snap shut thing. You know what I mean? It hardly does it, which is either a good or a bad thing, depending on who you're asking, because a lot of people enjoy the snap to close thing. But anyways, so it's an interesting device. Like I said, I haven't really spent much time with it, but I plan to, and I will, at some point give it a full review. I mean, $1,800 is a lot of money to spend on any smartphone.
Yeah.
But this is kind of Samsung's cutting edge, right? This is pushing the envelope. This obviously they're trying new things. This is the first time that they've done the in-display camera. That's not a cutout. So they're trying some of their newer technologies here, and the way Samsung works, in a couple of years, you're probably going to see that in-display camera, if the technology continues to improve, be a standard across their other flagship devices, and that just seems to be how Samsung goes. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see that in somewhere down the line. I imagine if this is a technology that's really fleshed out and there is no quality hit, companies like Apple, they're probably working on this too, to kind of see can we get rid of the notch? Can we do something to where that display is unobstructed and there isn't the trade-off? I'm sure they're all working on it. I just don't know how possible that is, but eventually I'm sure it will be. Yeah. So that is the Galaxy Z Fold 3.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Do you see, are you at all interested in foldables? I know.
I think they
doesn't have any, but
they don't. I think they have some really cool use cases that I find interesting, and certainly as a tech enthusiast, I enjoy. But in terms of making a device like that, my EDC, my everyday carry, I am still not 100% sold. I think that it's still too thick when it's folded for me.
Yeah.
And then like you mentioned, then the screen is sort of narrower. And so you give up too much for having a foldable device from me. So I think that the technology still needs to advance a little bit more before I would feel like it was actually worth making that change and paying that price at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it is a thick device, you know. It's almost twice as thick as a normal smartphone, because that's essentially what it is two smartphones with a hinge system, you know, and a single seamless display. So that's where it's at right now. I have no doubts that it's going to get more miniaturized and everything over time. So it'll be interesting if we could just jump ahead 5 years from now and see what kind of foldables exist then. I don't think the foldable category is going away. I think it's definitely an
I agree.
Interesting thing. And especially like the Z Flip, I feel like Samsung's probably going to sell a lot of these. I think this could end up being one of the most successful.
They seem to be pretty popular in these early responses that I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pretty awesome device.